Beloved soul, pause right here and let the weight of this moment settle into your spirit. You were not guided to this message by accident. Heaven has been whispering your name in the unseen, pulling you toward this divine appointment because something sacred is unfolding over your life. That quiet stirring in your chest, that sense of holy anticipation, is not confusion, it is confirmation. God is parting the veil around you, revealing what has been hidden, and your heart knows it. You have felt the pressure rising, the atmosphere shifting, the old comfort cracking. These are not signs of collapse, they are signals of awakening. The Lord declares in Isaiah 43:19, "Behold, I am doing a new thing." Right now, in this very moment, that new thing is reaching for you. Chosen one, listen with your spirit. What you are about to hear is not another message. It is a divine unveiling meant to call you into alignment with your destiny. Heaven can no longer keep quiet about what is coming. God is moving pieces around your life, redirecting your steps with purpose, raising you out of limitation and into a chapter marked by abundance, clarity, and breakthrough. That heaviness you've carried lately, that tension you can't put into words, is the Holy Spirit guiding you toward elevation. This is the moment where confusion becomes clarity and delay becomes direction. The wealth mindset God is forming in you, the spiritual growth stirring inside you, the inner strength rising like a quiet flood, it is all part of His divine blueprint for your life. Take another breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let your heart open. You are God's chosen one, and heaven is ready to reveal what has been concealed. Stay until the very end, for what is coming will shift the atmosphere inside you and set your steps on a new path. Chosen one, the pressure you've been feeling is not a mistake. It is the sound of heaven rearranging the landscape of your life, exposing what can no longer stand and preparing you for what must rise. You have walked through seasons where your spirit felt stretched thin, where emotional storms hit without warning, where your finances felt tight and your confidence wavered. But hear this with the authority of heaven itself. None of it was punishment, it was preparation. You have been forged in fire so you could carry a destiny too heavy for the unprepared. God has been shaping you for abundance, sharpening your discernment, and strengthening your spiritual posture, so that what comes next does not crush you, but crowns you. For months, maybe even years, you have sensed an invisible resistance around you. Opportunities that should have opened stayed shut. Relationships that once felt supportive faded without explanation. Doors that once swung wide felt sealed. But, beloved, the Lord has been protecting what He planted in you. You are stepping into a season where clarity will replace confusion, where divine purpose will silence every lie the enemy used to intimidate you. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, misunderstood, forgotten, yet never abandoned. In one single day, God brought him from captivity to promotion. Genesis 41:14 shows us that God's elevation often comes suddenly after long seasons that feel silent. That same sudden shift is moving toward you, chosen one. You may not see the full picture yet, but heaven is aligning every detail. And if lately you found yourself waking between 2 and 4 a.m., unable to rest, know this: you are not battling insomnia. You are responding to a divine summons. The Holy Spirit often stirs chosen ones in the stillness, when distractions fall silent and revelation becomes possible. Those moments are invitations to listen. Heaven speaks strategy in the early hours, whispering instructions for financial stability, emotional renewal, and personal transformation. Do not fear the awakening. Embrace it. It is proof that God is preparing you for breakthrough. Look at your life closely. The patterns are changing. Your interests are shifting. The places that once felt comfortable now feel too small. The conversations you tolerated before now drain you. This is not boredom, it is spiritual evolution. When God begins to elevate a chosen one, He first detaches them from what can no longer support where they are going. Just as Abraham was called away from the familiar into the unknown, Genesis 12:1 reminds us that elevation rarely happens in comfort zones. You are being guided into an atmosphere where your gifts will flourish, where your light will be seen, and where your divine purpose can breathe. And beloved, right here at this turning point where your spirit is awakening to what God is doing, if you feel that gentle pull in your heart, even a simple super thanks becomes a sacred echo of gratitude, a moment where you say, Lord, I align myself with the future you are shaping for me, not as an obligation, but as a seed of expectation, acknowledging that heaven is moving on your behalf. Listen closely. The signs around you are not random. Have you noticed repeating numbers, especially 7s and 8s? 7 is completion, 8 is new beginning. Heaven uses patterns to get your attention. When God prepares to unveil what has been hidden, He often sends subtle confirmations, dreams, symbols, recurring thoughts that refuse to leave. If you've felt a heavy sense of anticipation without knowing why, it is because the spiritual realm has already shifted. You are catching up to what God has already declared over you. The loneliness you've walked through was not abandonment, it was insulation. God shielded you from voices that would have sabotaged your purpose. The financial strain you endured was not lack. It was training, teaching you to trust divine provision more than human logic. Philippians 4:19 declares, My God will supply all your needs according to His riches in glory, and His riches do not run dry. The emotional battles that pushed you to the edge were not signs of defeat. They were signs of refinement, shaping a strength in you that cannot be broken. Chosen one, you are stepping into a divine unveiling. God is lifting the curtain on your next chapter. What once confused you will soon become clear. What once delayed, you will now accelerate. What once drained you will be replaced with connections that lift, strengthen, and celebrate the calling on your life. The angels assigned to your destiny have already moved ahead of you, aligning opportunities, preparing doors, setting the stage for your elevation. And I need you to hear this. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on heavenly schedule. Psalm 37:23 says, The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Every step, even the painful ones, were ordered. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was unaccounted for. God has been orchestrating a symphony of breakthrough behind the scenes. Chosen one, there is a reason your spirit has been picking up shifts long before anything changed in the natural. When God prepares a chosen vessel, He awakens the inner world first. Your dreams have become sharper, your intuition has grown louder, your sensitivity to spiritual movement has increased in ways you can't explain to anyone around you. This inner sensitivity is not weakness, it is spiritual authority rising. You are being trained to discern what others dismiss, to perceive what others overlook, to hear heaven's whisper even when life is noisy. God is not just preparing a blessing for you, He is preparing you for the blessing, stretching your capacity so that what He places in your hands will not slip through your fingers. There have been moments where you felt like everything familiar was dissolving around you. Something within you knew you couldn't stay where you were, but nothing outside of you seemed ready to shift. That internal tug-of-war was heaven reshaping your identity. The old version of you could not step into the opportunities being prepared. The old patterns would have sabotaged your abundance. The old relationships would have diluted your purpose. So God began a gentle dismantling, not to break you, but to rebuild you into someone who can carry influence, stability, and supernatural favor without wavering. It's why you've been craving silence lately. It's why the noise of the world has felt heavier. Heaven has been saturating you with divine clarity. Look at your journey. Notice how your heart has changed. You've grown wiser with your time. You guard your peace with more intention. You no longer chase validation from those who never valued you. This shift is not ego. It is elevation. God has been teaching you to protect your anointing because what He is about to release through you requires strength, boundaries, and spiritual maturity. Think of David tending sheep while being secretly prepared for kingship. His training ground didn't look like a throne, yet every moment shaped him for rulership. You've been walking through your own training ground, quiet places where God sculpted resilience, sharpened discernment, and planted visions for your future. Beloved, do not overlook the way your conversations have been changing. The topics that once entertained you now feel empty. The atmospheres that once comforted you now feel draining. This is spiritual evolution. God elevates the mind before He elevates the environment. Romans 12:2 speaks truth here. Transformation begins with renewal. Your renewed mind is making room for divine creativity, for new ideas that carry financial stability, for strategies that lead to abundance, for insights that guide you into purpose. You are not losing interest in your old life. You are outgrowing it. Your spirit has stepped into tomorrow while your body remains in today, and the tension you feel is the pull of destiny. And pay close attention, chosen one, to the sudden clarity that has been entering your thoughts. Ideas arriving out of nowhere, sudden urges to reorganize your life, strange desire to prepare for something you can't name yet. These are not impulses, they are divine downloads. Heaven often sends instruction disguised as intuition. Noah built an ark with no rain in sight. But faith builds before evidence appears. In the same way, your preparation is a sign that your breakthrough has already crossed from the spiritual realm into the natural. When God prepares to elevate, He stirs diligence, focus, and boldness within His chosen. That stirring is your signal that the shift has begun. Also notice how people have been revealing their true intentions lately. Unexpected distance, conversations turning cold, sudden change in the way they respond to you. This is not rejection, it is revelation. God is removing anyone who cannot walk with you into your new season. Emotional pruning always happens before divine promotion. The same way Gideon's army was reduced before victory, your circle is being refined so that the next chapter is surrounded only by those who can honor your calling. Your destiny is too valuable to be weighed down by half-hearted loyalty. Heaven is clearing the noise so your spirit can rise without interference. You have also been sensing a deep, almost unexplainable hunger for more purpose, more clarity, more authenticity, more connection with God. This hunger is not dissatisfaction. It is divine invitation. The Lord is calling you into spiritual depth, into revelation that reshapes the trajectory of your life, into wisdom that unlocks abundance, into alignment that accelerates your purpose. The inner longing you feel is Heaven's way of guiding you toward the life you were always meant to live. Psalm 37:4 reminds us, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Your desires are shifting because God is shaping them Himself. Chosen one, have you noticed how the old fears have begun to lose their power? You may still feel uncertainty, but you don't crumble like you once did. You may still face challenges, but you recover faster. You may still feel lonely, but you no longer feel lost. This is spiritual growth. This is maturity. This is God strengthening your foundation for greater responsibility. Your resilience is rising because your assignment is rising. Your endurance is growing because your influence is growing. God is removing the fragility from your spirit so you can handle blessings of greater weight. Even the battles you've faced lately are signs of elevation. Darkness does not fight what does not threaten it. The enemy senses what you cannot yet see. That sudden increase in warfare, those unexpected setbacks, those emotional waves that hit without warning, they are proof that a new mantle is resting upon your life. And Isaiah 54:17 stands unshaken. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Heaven has already spoken protection over your journey. What rises against you cannot overpower what God has spoken for you. Stay alert to the dreams you've been receiving. Some of them feel symbolic, others strangely vivid. These dreams are not random. They are spiritual messages wrapped in imagery, revealing the next chapters of your destiny before they manifest. God spoke to Joseph through dreams. He is speaking to you the same way, giving previews of your elevation, whispering instruction, preparing your heart for what is coming. Pay attention when you wake with clarity. Pay attention when certain images linger. Heaven is guiding you through the night. And, chosen one, feel this truth settle deep in your soul. You are entering a season where restoration will meet you in places you didn't even know were wounded. The areas you thought God forgot about are the very areas He is healing first. Emotional clarity is coming. Financial stability is rising, divine purpose is unfolding, spiritual confidence is awakening. Everything that once felt broken is being rebuilt with heavenly precision. You are stepping into a chapter where God redeems lost time, lost opportunities, and lost peace. What the enemy attempted to steal will be returned multiplied. Chosen one, there is something else unfolding beneath the surface of your journey, something you may have sensed but could never fully articulate. Lately, you've been feeling a strange pull toward refinement, as if God has been polishing areas of your character you didn't even realize needed attention. This refining is not correction, but preparation. The Lord is smoothing out the edges sharpened by past wounds, replacing survival instincts with spiritual strategy, replacing fear-driven habits with faith-driven authority. He is shaping you into someone who can stand in abundance without trembling, someone who can speak with clarity without second-guessing, someone who can step into divine opportunity without shrinking back into old limitations. There have been moments where you found yourself reflecting on old memories more deeply than usual. Not to dwell on the past, but to understand it differently. God is giving you revelation about experiences that once confused you. He is turning past betrayals into blueprints, turning old disappointments into wisdom, turning painful endings into prophetic beginnings. You are beginning to understand why certain people could not stay, why certain doors had to close, why certain seasons felt longer than your patience could bear. This understanding is not just healing your heart. It is sharpening your discernment so that you enter the next chapter with spiritual vision, not human emotion. God is preparing you to recognize divine connections instantly, without hesitation or doubt. Notice how God has been increasing your awareness of your environment. You have started picking up the spiritual temperature in rooms, sensing heaviness that doesn't belong to you, recognizing intentions before they're spoken. This gift of discernment is not random. It is part of your calling. Those who carry divine purpose must be able to read atmospheres, because your presence shifts them. God is training you to walk with authority, not passivity, so that you can step into spaces and carry peace, clarity, and strength wherever you go. You are becoming someone whose spirit speaks even before your mouth does. And look at how your appetite for truth has increased. You no longer settle for surface-level answers. You crave depth, authenticity, and revelation. This hunger is heaven's way of drawing you closer to the strategies that will unlock abundance and stability in your future. You are being positioned to steward not only blessing, but responsibility. God is readying you to handle influence with integrity, to handle resources with wisdom, and to handle destiny with courage. The dreams He placed in you were never small. They were simply dormant, waiting for the moment your spirit matured enough to carry them. There is another shift taking place in your relationships. God is aligning you with people who speak life, not discouragement. People whose presence lifts you instead of weighing you down. People who carry wisdom, clarity, and encouragement. These are divine alliances, not random acquaintances. Heaven is assembling a circle around you that amplifies your purpose. Where you once tolerated inconsistency, you now crave stability. Where you once accepted chaos, you now protect your peace. This is spiritual evolution. You are learning that elevation requires alignment, not attachment. And, chosen one, have you noticed how your priorities have changed? Things that once consumed you no longer distract you. Old desires no longer tempt you. You have begun to measure everything by purpose rather than preference. This shift is God placing your destiny above your impulses, placing wisdom above emotion, placing clarity above comfort. He is preparing you to walk in rooms where your focus must remain sharp, where your decisions must be guided by purpose, not pressure. You are stepping into a season where every choice carries weight, and God is training your inner compass so you do not miss a single divine instruction. Even the way you experience silence has changed. What once felt like emptiness now feels like presence. What once felt like absence now feels like guidance. God has taught you to hear Him in stillness, to feel Him in quiet moments, to recognize His movement even when your life seems paused. This silent training is priceless. It means you will not be shaken by delays or distracted by noise. You will walk with a steady spirit, anchored in the certainty that God's timing is always intentional. And there is something else, beloved. The visions you've been having during prayer, the glimpses of a future you've never seen before, the flashes of places your feet haven't touched yet, the inner knowing that something big is approaching. These are not fantasies, they are previews. Heaven often reveals the direction before it reveals the details. God is expanding your imagination because your destiny requires a mindset that welcomes abundance instead of resisting it. You are being prepared for opportunities that once would have overwhelmed you, but now will elevate you. Your emotional landscape is shifting as well. You have begun to respond differently to pressure, not with panic, but with patience, not with fear, but with faith. This emotional strength is a sign that God's hand is on your life. You are no longer easily swayed by negativity because you have tasted spiritual clarity. You no longer absorb the chaos of others because you are learning to guard your spirit. You no longer crumble under discouragement because resilience has been planted deep within you. Every test you passed has built a layer of strength heaven will use in the seasons ahead. Beloved, God is also awakening a higher level of creativity within you. New ideas are flowing, new solutions are appearing, new ways of thinking are emerging. This creativity is not random inspiration. It is divine strategy being released into your spirit. God is equipping you to create pathways where none existed, to build what others only dreamed, to step into opportunities that require innovation and courage. This is part of your calling. Your mind is being transformed to carry the blueprints of abundance. And listen closely. There has been a subtle shift in the way you perceive challenges. What once overwhelmed you now motivates you. What once discouraged you now activates you. This shift is spiritual empowerment. God has been teaching you to see obstacles as indicators of purpose, not threats to your stability. The warfare you've experienced is evidence of what you carry. The pressure has been intense because the promise is enormous. Heaven assigns battles based on destiny, not difficulty. Chosen one, you are also beginning to feel a longing for deeper connection with God. Your prayer life is being pulled into new territory. Your worship feels different, more sincere, more urgent, more intimate. This spiritual hunger is not random. It is the doorway to the next level of revelation. God is drawing you closer so He can reveal secrets, guide your steps, and download instructions that shape your future. Psalm 32:8 echoes this truth. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Heaven is leading you with precision. And beloved, even in this rising intensity, if you feel gratitude stirring in your heart, quiet, steady, undeniable, then even a simple super thanks becomes a sacred acknowledgement of the journey God is shaping within you. Not as obligation, but as alignment, as agreement, as a whisper of faith that says, Lord, I receive what you are building in me. Chosen one, there is yet another layer of revelation unfolding around your life, one so delicate and sacred that only now is your spirit ready to perceive it. You may have noticed a quiet awakening in the way you handle disappointment. Situations that once unsettled you now barely shake you. Words that once cut deeply now fall away like dust. This is not emotional numbness. This is spiritual maturity. God has been strengthening your inner walls so that your peace is no longer controlled by circumstances, but anchored in purpose. You are learning to move with intention rather than reaction, to walk with stability rather than fear, and to choose wisdom over impulse. This shift is heaven enlarging your capacity to steward blessing without being shaken by the weight of responsibility. There is also a transformation happening in the way you see yourself. You have begun to break free from the limitations others once placed on you. The labels, the misunderstandings, the doubts spoken over your life, they no longer cling to your identity. God has been rewriting your self-perception, peeling back the layers of insecurity and revealing the strength, intelligence, and spiritual authority He placed in you from the beginning. You are starting to recognize that the timid version of yourself was shaped by survival, not purpose. Heaven is awakening the true you, the bold you, the anointed you, the version designed to carry vision and destiny without apology. And pay attention, beloved, to the subtle confidence rising within you. You may not feel loud, but something inside you feels sure. Sure that change is coming. Sure that promise is near. Sure that God is not done with you. This inner certainty is a divine signal. Before God shifts your circumstances, He strengthens your belief. Before He opens a door, He prepares your heart to walk through it with steady steps. This certainty is not self-made. It is the Holy Spirit whispering, "You're closer than you think." Notice how your values have been transforming. You have become more intentional with your time, more protective of your spirit, more selective with your connections. This is elevation. God is reshaping your priorities so that nothing pulls you off your path. You are shedding distractions effortlessly because your soul is aligning with destiny. What once entertained you now feels empty, not because you've become rigid, but because your spirit is hungry for purpose, truth, and growth. This hunger is the evidence that your calling is awakening at a deeper level. Chosen one, look closely at how divine timing has been revealing itself. Opportunities that once felt like dead ends are resurfacing unexpectedly. Delays that once frustrated you are now making sense in hindsight. Conversations are connecting in ways that once felt random but now feel orchestrated. God has been weaving together the fragments of your life into a pattern that only heaven could design. What looked like confusion was coordination. What felt like stagnation was synchronization. You are stepping into alignment with a plan older than your fears and stronger than your obstacles. Even your physical environment has been speaking to you. You may have felt a growing discomfort in spaces you once tolerated. Rooms that once felt safe now feel restrictive. The air around you carries a subtle heaviness that doesn't belong to you. This is spiritual sensitivity increasing. God is opening your discernment so you can recognize environments that drain your purpose. You are being trained to identify where your spirit can flourish and where it cannot breathe. This awareness will guide your next steps more clearly than any human advice ever could. And beloved, consider the moments lately where you've found unexpected bursts of clarity. Times when your thoughts felt organized, your heart felt aligned, and your decisions felt guided. These flashes of direction are not coincidences. They are glimpses of the wisdom being released into your spirit. God is sharpening your intuition because the next chapter will require quick obedience, deep trust, and unwavering focus. You will know when to move, you will know when to wait, you will know when to speak and when to stand still. Heaven is preparing you to make decisions with peace rather than pressure. There is also a new depth developing in your conversations with God. You aren't praying the same way you used to. Your prayers feel raw, real, intimate. You've stopped trying to impress heaven with perfect words and have started speaking from your soul. That authenticity is what God always desired. Your honesty has opened a door in the spirit that allows him to pour into you with greater clarity. He is drawing you closer, not with force, but with invitation. He is teaching you to hear him in subtle ways, to sense his presence without performance, to trust his voice even when nothing around you makes sense. And chosen one, something within you has been awakening a sense of inner identity that goes beyond your past, beyond your mistakes, beyond your fears. You have begun to feel like you were made for more, and that feeling is not arrogance, it is revelation. Heaven is reminding you of who you are, a vessel of purpose, a carrier of light, a chosen soul equipped for impact. Your compassion has deepened too. You feel more connected to people's pain, more moved by their struggles, more aware of their hidden battles. This compassion is not weakness, it is preparation. Those who carry divine assignments must also carry divine empathy. God is expanding your heart so that when you step into your place of elevation, you will lead with humility, kindness, and understanding. Yet, beneath all of this, beloved, there is something rising that is even more powerful: your courage. Not loud courage, but steady courage. You may not feel brave every day, but you are braver than you have ever been. You have faced battles that once would have broken you. You have survived storms that could have suffocated your hope. And through it all, something inside you refused to quit. That resilience is the fingerprint of God on your spirit. He has been strengthening you quietly so that when opportunity appears, you do not shrink, you rise. Chosen one, there is something else unfolding within you, something subtle yet profoundly transformative. You may have noticed a growing awareness of timing, an inner sense that certain things must no longer be forced, and others must no longer be delayed. This sensitivity is not hesitation, it is divine pacing. God is teaching you how to move in rhythm with heaven, how to step when He speaks, and how to pause when He is aligning things unseen. This new awareness protects you from premature decisions and positions you for opportunities that require perfect timing. You are learning that delay is not denial, and acceleration is not accident. Every step you take now carries spiritual weight, because heaven has synchronized your movement with destiny. There is also a deeper clarity rising in your heart about your emotional patterns. Situations that once triggered you no longer pull you into the same storms. You have begun to understand your own heart with new depth. You are learning to separate emotion from assignment, feeling from purpose, and impulse from direction. This clarity is God healing the parts of you that once overreacted to pressure. He is teaching you emotional discipline, strengthening your inner world so your outer world can expand without collapsing. Your heart is becoming steady, balanced, and anchored, ready to carry responsibility without being fractured by it. Chosen one, pay attention to the way your endurance has grown. You are not easily discouraged anymore. You no longer crumble under setbacks. You recover quickly, rise quietly, and continue walking even when the path looks unclear. This is a sign of spiritual authority. God has been building stamina within you, preparing you to stand firm in seasons where others would retreat. This endurance is the evidence that your spirit has matured. You are no longer fighting with the desperation of someone trying to survive. You are moving with the confidence of someone who knows they are destined to rise. And look at how your expectations have shifted. You are beginning to hope differently. The hope inside you no longer feels fragile. It feels grounded, stable, rooted in something eternal rather than emotional. This hope is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual vision. You are seeing beyond what is visible, sensing what is coming before it arrives, believing in what God promised, even when circumstances disagree. This kind of hope is a spiritual weapon. It reshapes your atmosphere. It attracts divine opportunities. It prepares your spirit for supernatural provision. Chosen one, you may have also noticed changes in the way you communicate. Words flow differently now. You speak with more intention, more compassion, more weight. You have become aware that your voice carries influence, even when you don't try to impress. The old habit of explaining yourself has begun to fade. You speak truth without over-justifying. You express your needs without fear. You honor your boundaries without guilt. This shift is heaven preparing your voice for greater platforms where clarity matters, where wisdom is needed, and where your words will shape atmospheres. There is also a new sensitivity developing around your finances. You feel more responsible, more aware, more intentional with how you steward what you have. This is not anxiety. It is preparation. God is teaching you the mindset of abundance, the wisdom of stewardship, and the discipline required for increase. He is preparing you for financial stability that aligns with your purpose. You are learning that abundance is not about accumulation, it is about alignment. When your spirit aligns with obedience, provision flows with ease. And beloved, look closely at how your creativity has evolved. New ideas are emerging, surprising you with their clarity and potential. You are becoming a vessel God can inspire, a channel through which solutions, strategies, and visions can flow. This creativity is a divine gift, a tool heaven is sharpening inside you. It will open doors, attract opportunities, and connect you with people who recognize your brilliance. You are stepping into a season where your gifts will make room for you in ways you did not expect. Chosen one, there is a deepening strength forming in the way you face conflict. You no longer fear confrontation. You no longer shrink when others misunderstand you. You no longer negotiate your worth for the sake of peace. This strength is not aggression, it is discernment. You are learning to fight with wisdom, to speak with purpose, to stand with dignity. This is heaven teaching you how to protect your anointing, how to maintain your boundaries, and how to recognize when spiritual warfare is disguising itself as emotional drama. You may have also felt a growing sense of sacred responsibility, an understanding that your life carries meaning beyond your own desires. God is planting within you the conviction that your presence matters, your choices matter, your obedience matters. You are no longer living by chance. You are living by calling. You are beginning to recognize the weight of your assignment, the impact of your influence, and the significance of your destiny. This responsibility is not a burden. It is a crown being shaped for your next season. And beloved, consider the moments when sudden peace settles over you without explanation. That peace is not random. It is divine reassurance. It is God reminding you that He is holding every detail, shaping every outcome, orchestrating every step. This peace appears in moments when you are aligned with heaven's direction, when your spirit is tuned to God's frequency, when your heart is resting in the certainty of His plan. This peace is the signature of His presence. There is also a refinement unfolding in the way you handle truth. You are becoming more honest with yourself about your desires, your fears, your strengths, your weaknesses. This honesty is breaking old patterns of denial and self-doubt. God is teaching you to see yourself clearly, so you do not settle for less than what He intended. You are learning to speak truth to your own heart, to confront what needs healing, to acknowledge what needs growth, to celebrate what needs honoring. This self-awareness is transforming you from within. And chosen one, in the midst of this unfolding transformation, if gratitude continues to rise inside you even quietly, even softly, then let it flow. Because even now, if your spirit feels led, a simple super thanks becomes a gentle offering of alignment, a quiet confirmation that your heart is in agreement with the work God is doing within you. Chosen one, there is another realm of transformation unfolding within you. A realm so subtle yet so powerful that only now is your spirit strong enough to engage with it. You have begun to notice a shift in the way you interpret challenges. What once looked like obstacles now appears as instruction. What once discouraged you now intrigues you. What once felt overwhelming now feels purposeful. This shift is not accidental. God is renewing your perception so that you no longer see life through the lens of fear, but through the lens of destiny. You are learning that every disruption carries direction, every pause carries protection, and every challenge carries revelation. Your spirit is maturing into someone who can read the signs of heaven even in the midst of shifting circumstances. There is also a new depth growing in the way you navigate stillness. In seasons where everything around you feels quiet, you no longer assume abandonment. Instead, you feel invitation. You feel aware. You feel alert. The silence that used to trouble you now feels like a sacred space where heaven refines your vision. You are learning to embrace quiet moments, not as delays, but as meetings. God is training your heart to hear His whisper before the world begins to speak again. This is spiritual transition, beloved. You are being recalibrated to recognize divine communication in places where others only hear emptiness. Chosen one, look at the transformation happening in your confidence. Not the kind of confidence that shouts loudly, but the kind that stands quietly. The kind that no longer needs applause to feel valuable. The kind that does not collapse when misunderstood. The kind that comes from knowing you carry God's imprint on your life. This inner assurance is heaven's gift to those who have endured seasons of insecurity. God is teaching you to walk with your head lifted, not because life is perfect, but because your identity is anchored. You are beginning to understand who you are in Him, and that understanding is producing a strength nothing can destabilize. And look at the shifts in your desires. You want different things now. You long for depth instead of distraction. You crave connection rather than attention. You seek purpose instead of comfort. These shifts are evidence that heaven has marked you for more. When God prepares to elevate a chosen one, He first transforms their appetite. He removes the taste for the temporary, so the soul becomes hungry for the eternal. You are being positioned for blessings that require a refined spirit, a focused mind, and a purified heart. Beloved, there is something powerful unfolding in the way you handle transitions. You no longer fear endings. You no longer cling to what God is removing. You no longer panic when familiar things begin to shift. This is spiritual maturity. God is teaching you to discern when a chapter has completed its assignment, so you can step forward without resisting the movement of heaven. You are learning to trust the divine flow, to follow His guidance even when the next step feels hidden. This trust is not naive. It is refined faith, birthed in seasons where God proved Himself faithful again and again. There is also a rising fire of purpose inside you, a quiet determination that wasn't there before. You have begun to sense that your life carries an assignment bigger than your fears and stronger than your past. You have started to recognize that the gifts in you are not random, that the passions stirring in your heart are not coincidences, that the ideas waking you at night are not accidents. These stirrings are heaven's reminders. Your destiny is calling you with increasing clarity, and your spirit is finally ready to respond. Chosen one, pay attention to how your intuition has sharpened. You sense things quickly now. You notice shifts instantly. You recognize intentions without needing explanations. This heightened awareness is not paranoia. It is spiritual insight. God is elevating your discernment so you can walk safely through environments where your purpose might attract unnecessary opposition. Your intuition is becoming a protective shield, a guiding compass, a divine filter that helps you recognize what aligns with your calling and what threatens your peace. There is also a refinement happening in your discipline. You find yourself wanting to create structure, to restore order, to build consistency in areas you once neglected. This shift is a sign that heaven is preparing you to sustain greater responsibility. Discipline is the foundation of divine expansion. God is strengthening your habits so you can hold the weight of the blessings coming your way. You are learning to be faithful with the little so you can be entrusted with much. Beloved, notice how God has been teaching you to let go. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You are no longer holding on to things that drain your strength. You are no longer forcing connections that resist your growth. You are no longer clinging to roles that do not reflect your calling. This release is not loss, it is alignment. God is loosening your grip on what was never meant to follow you into your next season. He is clearing space for new relationships, new opportunities, new visions, and new assignments that match the elevation He is bringing into your life. And look at the new resilience developing in your mind. Thoughts that once spiraled now find grounding. Fears that once controlled you now fade quickly. Doubts that once paralyzed you now dissolve under truth. This mental transformation is evidence that God has been renewing your mind, fortifying your thoughts, strengthening your inner world. You are becoming someone whose mindset aligns with abundance, whose focus aligns with purpose, whose perspective aligns with destiny. Chosen one, even your solitude has shifted. You no longer feel lonely the same way you once did. You have begun to sense God's presence in your isolation. You feel Him leading, comforting, instructing, shaping. What once felt like emptiness now feels like sacred companionship. This is divine intimacy. God is teaching you to rely on His presence first. So when people come into your life, they complement your journey, but do not define it. And beloved, in the middle of all this transformation, if your heart feels that gentle rise of gratitude, that quiet sense of, Lord, I see you working, then, even now, if your spirit feels led, a simple super thanks becomes a soft echo of faith, a quiet agreement with heaven's process, a whispered acknowledgement that you recognize God's hand shaping your path. Chosen one, there is another layer of awakening stirring inside you, one that has been quietly developing beneath every experience you've walked through. You may have begun noticing a new steadiness in the way you handle pressure. Situations that once felt chaotic now seem manageable. Confusion that once clouded your mind no longer lingers. This is not coincidence. God has been strengthening the spiritual muscles that were once fragile, teaching you how to anchor yourself in truth even when circumstances shift unexpectedly. You are learning to respond with clarity instead of panic, purpose instead of fear, and wisdom instead of impulse. This inner steadiness is a sign that your spirit is maturing into its next level. There is also a shift in the way you interpret your past. Memories that once held pain now reveal patterns. Events that once felt random now show divine design. You have begun to see how each heartbreak shaped your compassion, how each delay sharpened your discernment, how each disappointment strengthened your endurance. This understanding is not nostalgia, it is spiritual decoding. God is revealing how nothing in your story was wasted. Every chapter prepared you for a responsibility you are only now beginning to grasp. Your past is not returning to haunt you, it is returning to teach you. Chosen one, look at how your spiritual awareness has heightened. You sense atmospheres the moment you walk into a room. You feel when someone's spirit is troubled before they speak. You recognize divine appointments instantly, without needing confirmation from anyone else. This heightened intuition is not accidental. God is sharpening your spiritual senses so you can walk ahead with clarity and discernment. You are becoming someone who notices the subtle signals heaven sends, signals others overlook because their hearts are not tuned to the frequency of purpose. And notice how your priorities have been rearranging themselves without force. What once felt urgent now feels trivial. What once consumed your mind now feels small. What once held your attention now falls away effortlessly. This is spiritual filtration. God is teaching you to invest your energy wisely, to preserve your focus, to direct your strength toward what builds you instead of what drains you. You are learning to distinguish between what is essential and what is merely loud. Beloved, you may have also noticed a shift in the way you perceive yourself in relation to others. You no longer feel the need to compete. You no longer measure your progress by the pace of those around you. You no longer compare your calling to someone else's journey. This is spiritual maturity. God is freeing you from the pressure of imitation so you can walk boldly in originality. Your path is not meant to mirror anyone else's. Your assignment is unique because your anointing is unique. Heaven is teaching you to honor your own rhythm. There is also a transformation taking place in the way you deal with uncertainty. You have begun to trust God with details that once made you anxious. You no longer require full explanations before taking the next step. You no longer panic when you cannot predict the outcome. This trust is not naive, it is fortified. Faith, born from every moment God carried you when you didn't even realize it. You are learning to follow His whispers with quiet confidence, knowing His guidance has never failed you. Chosen one, observe how your boundaries have strengthened. You have begun protecting your peace with more boldness. You no longer entertain conversations that drain your spirit. You no longer allow access to people who take without giving. You no longer apologize for prioritizing your emotional and spiritual well-being. This boundary building is not selfishness, it is stewardship. God is teaching you to guard what He placed in you so that no distraction can sabotage your development. Look also at the way clarity has begun to arrive unexpectedly. Answers come to you in moments where you weren't even seeking them. Understanding appears in quiet reflections. Solutions arise during ordinary routines. This is divine insight. The Holy Spirit is bringing revelation in small moments, training you to recognize His voice beyond traditional settings. You are being prepared to live guided, not merely inspired. And, beloved, consider the new courage developing in your decisions. You are making choices you once delayed. You are taking steps you once feared. You are embracing changes you once resisted. This courage is evidence that God has healed parts of you that once held you back. You are not who you were a year ago. You are not even who you were a month ago. Your spirit has expanded. Your heart has strengthened. Your vision has sharpened. Chosen one, pay attention to the way you have started releasing control. You no longer try to force outcomes. You no longer cling to timelines that no longer serve you. You no longer panic when plans shift. This release is a sign that you are learning to walk in partnership with heaven rather than opposition to it. God is teaching you the flow of divine timing, a rhythm that cannot be rushed, slowed, or manipulated. There is also a rising hunger for authenticity growing inside you. You crave conversations that build, not conversations that gossip. You crave environments that nourish, not environments that suffocate. You long for relationships where your spirit can breathe, where your soul can grow, where your identity can flourish without suppression. This hunger is shaping your future community. God is preparing you for connections that match your calling. Beloved, even your perception of opportunity has changed. You no longer jump at every open door. You evaluate, you discern, you wait for confirmation. This is spiritual strategy. Heaven is teaching you that not every opportunity is divine and not every invitation is aligned. You are learning to recognize where God is moving and where He is not, where favor rests